Hey guys, Live for Love TV. I want you to like, share and subscribe. Big up yourself.
Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today's the second day, the 4th month, the 22nd year inside the 21st century. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the brain drain. Yeah, the brain drain. You know, we all know, well, those of you who have heard the word before know what it's about. It's about the richer countries taking the brains from the poorer countries in order to build their societies. Now, this has happened for many, many years. As you know, with the Windrush era, that was part of what was happening. People were being taken out of the Caribbean or invited out of the Caribbean, anyhow you want to look at it, in order to build a country, Great Britain, the so-called mother country at the time. Britain had lost, was beginning to lose its colonies around the world, so lose its ability to take, you know, without any questions asked from these places. So it knew it was basically bankrupt and had to start to get the same people that were making them rich in the beginning when they had the colonies, were the same people they wanted to make them rich again by bringing them to their country. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up, because this happened with many countries, not just the Caribbean. It happened with India, Pakistan, which later became Pakistan. It happened with the African countries that are under its rule. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the question always has to be asked, because a lot of people who went to England look back at their countries and complain at the state of it. So Ghanaians in the UK, in West Africa, in West Germany, in Holland, or in America, in Canada, they complain about the state of Ghana. Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Barbadians, a lot of people complain. They look back at the place that they're from and complain about the way things are. So the question would be to them is, how does a country progress when its brain is taken out, when its young people, the lifeblood of its future is taken out? How does that happen? That question is directly to those people who left, and their children, to be quite honest, because their children sometimes look at these places and think what's happening in those countries, but they would never point the finger at one of the people that may be a problem, which is their own parents. Because think about it, if you're taken out at your young age to build somebody else's economy and somebody else's society, how can you expect your society, which you have left, to then build? It's not going to happen, is it? Obviously. So this is why I always say, when people look at the Caribbean, some of the other countries, like I say in West Africa especially, when people look back at them and start complaining about the corruption and the bad roads and the bad this and the bad that, and things not running properly, and why are the people not competent? It's a very strange question to ask, because they take themselves out of the picture as if they have nothing to do with it. It's their country and they want their country to be better. They want it, but they didn't want to stay and help to build it to make it better. The English are master chess players. They know long before the colonial countries that they owned or controlled were going to leave them. The clamour was there for many, many years, and they knew they were going to leave them. So they invited most of the people from those countries before the Independence Day came. Others came afterwards, but the majority of the people they were inviting or allowing to come in was prior to that time. They even made excuses like, if you don't come by now, you know, you may not get in, and this is what happened, and people clamoured and ran into the UK. Very, very smart move. Now, obviously, UK is not the only one that does it. America's built its economy on immigration for the last 200-300. It's like old, you know, 200-300 years anyway. So it's the same thing all over the world. But I'm just pointing out that when I hear elders complaining about the place they come from and the state it's in, I try to point out to them, some of them just want to they're going to denial. I try to point out that you are actually part of the problem. You're not the problem. I'm not blaming you for the state of the island, country, wherever you come from, but you are part of that problem. You didn't stay and give your life to the country. You maybe spent 40 years outside, 50 years outside, came back and, you know, decided that you want to come back and live there, and then wonder why the place is in the state it's in. It's a very, very strange way of looking at the world. Maybe some of us, some of our parents, some of us ourselves just don't have the intelligence to understand how economies are built. You can't take the lifeblood out of a country and expect it to do well. You look at places like Singapore, people are not running out of Singapore. In fact, they're closing the gates in Singapore now so that people can't run in. And they got their independence, say in the 50s, but they still didn't have a proper independence or a proper Singapore with all these changes and things that kept happening till about somewhere in the 70s. And look at the state of them now. Look how well they've done. They've got their young people and they've built their country. This is what you have to do. This is why, in a way, the brain drain which the richer countries did was a bad thing for the poorer countries. They knew it would be a bad thing for the poorer countries, but we should have looked long term, not short term, not our own pocket, our own little piece of land, our own little piece of this, our own little piece of that. This is what we always do. No collectiveness. And that's why I bring it up, because it's led on to so many other things. When later on, when people say, why are we not together? Why are we not collective? It's been going on for a long time. We all went for our own little piece of that pie and left the places we came from into their own misery and their own downfall. And that was a very, very bad, I think that was a bad decision. History so far has not been kind to us. And I think as time goes on, history is going to really be very, very unkind to those who left just before independence especially, and even those who left soon after independence and decided that they wanted to build somebody else's economy. Even they may say they didn't do that, they were trying to put some money in their pocket, but that's what you were doing. That was the effect of it. The effect is, while you're enriching yourself, you're enriching the country that you are actually living in. And whilst you're doing that, you're impoverishing the country you came from. So we need to think about these things. We need to talk about these things. And we need to be honest and frank with ourselves, as usual. Live for Love TV. Take care. See you soon.
One step more, one step more, one step